Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.
It's the After the Show podcast with Precious.
We don't care, we're about to swear on the air. It's the After the Show, so tune in if you dare. KVJ, get your skate every single day. It's uncensored. We can say what we want to say.
Hello, welcome to the Tuesday KVJ After the Show podcast.
Girl.
Virginia out today, back again with us tomorrow. I got an email from Ashley, and she said, I told my husband to pull up the KVJ show on the TV when I got home from work because I'd missed it in the morning. And he said it was just Kevin and Jason. Virginia was out. My 10-year-old daughter chimed in and said, Virginia wasn't there to criticize anybody today? Oh.
That's pretty good.
Geez, there you go.
Oh, the kids.
Oh, the kids.
The youth.
Oh, the kids.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, everybody getting it here. Got an email from Amanda. She said, here's what Kevin's jacket reminds me of. Can we please get a picture of Kevin behind a tree rubbing his hands and licking his lips? Don't know if you've seen this meme. That's from Amanda in Port St. Lucie.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same Predator-like jacket. People say it looks like a rain jacket.
It reminds me of the Star Wars jacket in the ending scene of episode 4.
You're right. The one
New
that Luke is wearing, right?
Yeah, you just need the golden medal, my friend.
Yeah, that would work out. I've always loved that jacket. Yeah. I wish today because it was freezing in my house. And my wife's like, it's summertime. You can't wear a jacket. That's not trendy. I'm like, you know what? At this point.
Who gives a shit? I love wearing jacket anytime.
I'm just trying to stay warm. I'm like, I am freezing. I'm like, I am going to have to forfeit whatever I guess is fashionable at this time of year because it is so damn cold in these buildings, man. It's crazy.
It is really cold in here.
So damn cold. Got a lot of interesting stuff, too, about some weird things that have popped up. Bill had said, true story, when I was in 4th grade, my teacher told me to go to the office. On my way there, I stopped in the bathroom, and there was a kid I remember who was washing his hands, and he and I chatted for about a minute. He was a friend, and I remember him being in my class and at the school, but I never went to the office. Instead, I went back to the classroom. My teacher looked at me and asked where I'd been. So I went to the bathroom. She said, "You've been gone for 4 hours." I was sent to the principal's office, and I said I was talking to this kid for a minute, and the principal said that he was not at this school anymore and hadn't been at the school that day. I still have zero idea of what really happened and why time slipped like that.
That's fucking freaky, man. If that's a legit true story, what the hell happened then?
That is pretty insane,
it's
right?
common to have that happen in an alien abduction.
Like, who was that kid? What the hell was going on? Dang, that is some crazy stuff.
Would you be shocked if all of this weird shit was real? Ghosts, aliens, Loch Ness Monster.
No, I think there's none of it shocks me. I don't delve into it as heavily just because I don't like continually just coming away with, there's no explanation. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I agree. It is all crazy. But
you want an ending to what's going on.
Yeah, I like conclusions. So it's like, to me, I don't invest that much time or thought into it because you're just going to come back with, I don't know, that's freaking weird, dude.
There's this story I heard, I guess this happened during the Vietnam War, where soldiers on both sides were reporting of this big beast that would jump massively high up in the air. And they did not know what the fuck it was.
Yeah.
And they'd be in the middle of war, and all of a sudden they'd see this giant, kind of like a Bigfoot, but I don't know if they're really calling it a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
They said its jumping ability was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And there's military accounts of this if you look into it. What the fuck is it?
Who knows?
Yeah.
That's just it. There's just so many mysteries going on. It'd be nice if one day we get all the answers to these mysteries. Like, what the hell was it? Maybe it's just people that are messing with you.
Lori's calling bullshit on the story. The whole school would have been looking for that one kid.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either,
Well,
Lori.
that is a good point. I think now, absolutely. But if he went to school a long time ago, I do remember, man, I used to make it I was really good at kind of slipping away. And
you could slip away.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I did it too.
I would skip out. I would disappear. And, they really did not do a very good job of keeping track of me.
Or watching kids in general back in the day.
No, they really did not. Yeah. I used to all the time. My mom was a teacher, and she would write her hall passes in pencil. And so I got those, and I would just erase it. I would just keep changing it. I would just walk out of the school.
Hey, what a fucking rookie mistake, though. You can't be giving, not you, you can't be giving hall passes in pencil.
I would just leave for like 5 hours, and nobody would miss me. It was crazy. Bobby sent this and said, love listening. I've been listening for about 4 years now. My wife turned me on to you guys, and you've been my favorite show and podcast, hands down, ever since. You're talking about some weird stuff, and I want to let you know about the Zimbabwe UFO story, if that blew your mind. Also, check out the case of the Fortunato Zanfretta, probably the most famous abduction case in Italian history. Story is crazy, tons of eyewitnesses, and the authorities at the time back up every thing that Zanfretta claimed had happened. Check it out.
That's really, really cool.
Fortunato Zanfretta.
It's really...
Thank you, Bobby.
It's really a cool thing, too, to look back at some of the art back in the day and see UFOs, and UFOs not only flying around, but having alien people in the UFOs and old-timey, paintings.
Mm-hmm.
When that shit should not have been around. I mean, nothing was flying around. And all that shit's in their paintings? How? Why? What are they seeing?
Yeah, they've gone back to that. There's even a lot of, you look at ancient texts or older texts, even going back to a couple references even in the Bible. They, discuss things where people are like, wait, that sounds like that is them describing what could be an alien.
Now, can you describe something you've never seen? Can that happen?
Can you describe something you've never seen?
Because people say, well, maybe they were just using their imagination. But if they didn't know any of that was, they've never seen it, they didn't know.
Yeah.
How could you?
I mean, you could make something up right now.
But are you making it up because you've already seen the things to make that up? I mean, you need kind of past references to make stuff up. You can't just.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I guess the question would be, what's the motive?
Yeah.
Why would they care to make it up?
Yeah.
That'd
why
be
would
my
they care?
question.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What the fuck is it?
Yeah, I think we have massive amounts of creativity, but why? At least at that point in history, would you do that? Hector said, so I heard you guys talking about the weirdest thing we saw when I was younger. I constantly would see shadow figures or ghosts walking by rooms fast. There's one that stayed with me, though. When I was younger, around 12, 13, I saw an old lady in all white in my garage just standing there praying and looking down, kind of like the Virgin Mary. I didn't get scared at all. I guess my mind and the presence told me it wasn't something bad, more like something good. So I looked at it and I kept walking like nothing. And to this day, my family still doesn't believe me. And yeah, remember the satellite or meteor that came down crashing like 3 months ago on the Treasure Coast? Well, that thing wasn't a meteor. That thing had flashing lights, red, blue, white, orange coming down so fast it even flashed my driveway on how bright it was. I couldn't get a good view of the object because of the colors flashing so much. But I know that wasn't a shooting star or a meteor. Okay.
I like all this weird shit people are sending in.
Yes. And then on the other end of it is Carmen. She said, okay, there are no aliens, people. Do you honestly think our country would allow unidentified aircraft to fly around in our airspace?
They aren't.
When a Cessna goes off course, jets are immediately scrambled. Our government is allowing people to see drones doing all these crazy maneuvers because why? We are simply flexing our technology muscle for China, etc. You want to worry about something else? The USA has a warship in the South China Sea now. Thank goodness that our country has all these awesome drones that can even drop in and out of water. So wake up, America, UFO fans. Sorry, but you look stupid. Follow real news sources and you will see what is really happening. Just my 2 cents.
Could not disagree more. Military's come out and said that they are in our airspace. They're in our airspace and they can't do anything about it.
I think she thinks it's us just smoke screening China and Russia.
She's saying
we're playing dumb like we don't know, trying to freak them out.
Yeah, okay.
There's nothing really going on. We're just like, oh, I don't know what it is. It's terrifying. Let's hope they don't come after us because they definitely have more technology than us. Meanwhile, they don't.
Remember when us and Russia were in that honeymoon state, after the 80s, and we were, sharing stuff and sharing secrets.
Yeah.
They shared a lot of UFO stuff too, and the same shit that was going on in America was going on in Russia as well, and they didn't know what the fuck it was.
Mm-hmm. She says it's us just, flexing, I guess.
Guarantee you she's over the age of 60.
You think so, huh? Okay, there's a type, there's an age.
I just want her to answer back.
Okay.
I have no idea how old she is.
Talking about splitting chores with couples, and we had that where one felt like they were carrying a little bit more of the weight. And we said, how do you do it in their situation where it is fair? Because you do. Resentment will grow in a relationship if you don't split things evenly. That's work inside the house, outside the house, with kids. How much do you work at your actual job? All this kind of stuff. Billy said, whoever thinks that just because they make more money and visit the spouse's family more than the other and stupid crap like that is just a bitch. Home chores are just that. The extended family and the more money is a different story. It's not about being macho or not. Take this from an Army vet. It's a family thing. This guy is a straight, lazy, selfish, egocentric bitch. Somebody did comment, said, really the best way to do it, and I try to do this, if you see something that's out of place or needs cleaned up, just do it. Just jump in and don't keep score. Be like, well, I did that. That goes to my 50%.
I think the keeping score is when you start to get screwy in a relationship.
Yeah, you get a little bit resentful. We got a message here from Debbie who hit us up on the app. She said, I am a pissed off woman because I work full-time, 3-hour round-trip commute. I cook every day. I do all the housework, 70% of the yard work, while my husband may mow the front yard once in 2 months. Let me mention, we have 1.5 acres. He's not pulling his weight. And listen to your tone. You're definitely resentful. You got to step up and say stuff. And guy or girl, man, woman, whatever, if you're not carrying your weight in a relationship, shame on you. Everybody's damn tired.
Everyone's tired. Everyone's fucked. Everyone's going through some bullshit.
It's stuff that needs to happen. These are the kind of things that you got to be, sympathetic and helpful. I think what would be tough is if you're a person, because everybody's got different standards. Like for me, I would have things, if I had my own place, like your place looks very clean. To me, immaculate standards. Everything would be in place. OCD would be kicking in hardcore.
It's hard to do KVJ stuff with a messy house.
Yeah, and so I think that would be tough if your standards of cleanliness are not even close to your partner's, and they're always just cleaning. Like, can we go live a life and do something? Because if you had your way, every moment of free time would be cleaning. Like, I don't want to spend my life doing that. That's where I think you got a more intricate problem, and that would be tough if your standards of cleanliness don't match up.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're saying, nope, this weekend, all weekend, we're clean. Be like, the house is clean enough. You're fine.
Oh, my gosh. To me, okay, guys, we're doing a weekend clean. That makes me want to fucking just beat
where
my
it would
head.
be tough. Be like, look, we have to find a compromise here. I will clean to this standard, and I will help you. This will be a team project, but I am not going to have it where we're bleaching the floors and cleaning the baseboards every single Saturday morning.
I could not. I know married couples that they do that. They'll have a planned thing, but it's not a fun thing. It's we're cleaning out the blah blah blah. It sounds miserable.
Yeah, no, that's tough, and especially if you're like, gosh, every weekend we're spending 90% of our weekend cleaning. Yeah, that ain't living, man.
That's not living.
That ain't living. Be like, there's too many cocktails out there for me to go drink. Got to get out there. I did get a lot of good information. Thank you very much. My ongoing quest about the vaccines and the COVID and all that kind of good stuff.
Were they in all caps yelling at you?
No, people have been really cool. I like this. And I keep telling people, look, if you're going to scold and yell at anybody about this, especially somebody who is like, look, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm not whatever. I'm not in the conspiracy theories. I am just, if you know me, I'm very careful about everything I put in my body. And I have all the vaccines that you need that they give you as a kid and things like that, and do believe in that, but I don't do the flu shot and things like that. I have a really good, aside from bronchitis, my immune system knocks everything out. I had a very slight case of COVID and I got the antibodies. And so I'd read 3 articles saying that, hey, if you had the antibodies, that, you're pretty good. That the one study from the Cleveland Clinic of over 50,000 people said that they didn't notice any added protection with the vaccine than if you had the antibodies. And so people have sent me some stuff that's pretty interesting that, you may have 40 to 50% more chance of spreading it if you had the antibodies but without the vaccine. And so I thought that was kind of interesting, and that is eye-opening that you might have. And so if it's something where, I could cut down on the spread of it. So I'm going to continue to look. So I appreciate the articles that people are sending in here. So I want to make sure they're from credible sources and read everything that's going on. This one nurse said, I live in South Florida. I work with a large health system. As company policy, the antibodies are not accepted as a valid test since there is not enough research on what does it mean when you find out that you have the antibodies. We don't know how many you have. At the moment, there is no quantitative measure of it. Example, like a 1 to a 10. How many do you have? We don't have a measure of it yet. And the article says that we don't know how long the immunity will last, how strong it will be. Also, keep in mind a positive test could mean you were recently exposed to a new COVID infection, not the one that you got in December or January. Vaccines are so far the proven method that we have to protect you and your loved ones of COVID-19. It's free, effective, accessible. Think about the millions of people who live in third world countries that don't have access to the vaccine and want one. My family is in that situation. So thank you for that perspective. I keep reading the articles and taking it in. And I'm one of those people, I'm never really entrenched too hard in any opinion. So the emails and articles that you sent me did move me a little bit more towards saying, okay, I would definitely consider more intently doing the vaccine for those reasons. So I'm going to read a little bit more and get more articles to back it up, and who knows, maybe soon. Let me see here. We got an email from Rose. Said, I was just listening to the replay of the show yesterday, and I heard the story of Denny's at the fast food place, and the cashier was not happy about taking cash instead of card. Well, up here in New Jersey, I work in Walmart, and the self-checkouts are card only, and there are signs all over saying that the U.S. is facing a national coin shortage. Sorry for the inconvenience. My question is, could the reason the cashier didn't want to take Denny's cash is because of this?
I'm going to because Denny's told me some more behind the scenes stuff, and I know of the place. I'm not blaming it on the coins. This place always has the shittiest service ever.
Just people really don't want to put in.
Yeah, and sometimes people go, why do you keep going to places that have shitty service? Sometimes it's not shitty. Sometimes it's about convenience, and you're hungry and it's right there, and you've had a good experience. It all depends on who's working. Mm-hmm. There's some people that no matter what job you give them, they're going to do a good job for you. It's an attitude, in my opinion. People that, no matter what job you have, you can see a difference in attitude sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And she also had said here, too, about the s'mores. I know you had the s'mores party this last week, and I wanted to see if you'd ever heard of these marshmallows from Kraft called Stuffed. They're marshmallows stuffed with chocolate. And we saw them at Walmart. Look at that. It is.
Ooh, they do look good.
It looks like check that out. Looks like a turd covered in marshmallow.
It does look like, it actually looks like a turd that is an egg.
Yeah.
An egg turd.
Right. So there you go. Enjoy that.
I got to figure out
what does look good though.
My next little house party for the food. I like the idea of having a food theme.
Yeah, that's fun.
The s'mores was a lot of fun because we had so many different kind of shit there. What's the next one now?
Yeah, I know you did a little bit of the grilled cheese thing. I know you love grilled cheese.
I do love grilled cheese.
You could probably go ham on that.
You could do a lot of different grilled cheeses.
Yeah,
that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But my feeling on these food kind of parties, if you come to one of them, you should have your own style, your own ingredients, and your own sandwich. If we're doing grilled cheese,
it's kind of like a potluck thing where everybody will bring their own little thing. You bring your own concept.
That's kind of what we do with the s'mores. People are making their own type of s'more. I love that. It's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And you're getting fucked up by doing it. It was great.
Yeah, that does sound like fun. Allie had said maybe a cereal party.
I love me some cereal.
Cereal is fun.
Have some cereal. Also make some other sides, some breakfast sides.
Yeah.
That would be fun. I love that.
Rachel Lee said chicken wing theme. I would love that.
That would be cool. Yeah, you could do a lot of different chicken wings.
Yeah. Taco parties.
The other one I would like to do is the egg roll. The modern day egg roll.
You love egg rolls, huh?
Let's put some new things in some egg roll. A peanut butter and jelly egg roll I think would be fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
A Nutella egg roll. Ooh.
Okay. There you go. A couple ideas. Princess said an ice cream sundae party. That is kind of fun when you would go and you'd have those. I just love a nice ice cream buffet and all the toppings. You go to like those kind of places where Magnolia is going to be working.
Yeah, where they have all the options. And,
yeah, you're just piling on as much crap as you can.
You are making me so wet when it comes to food.
I had a lot of good food talk today.
We've had a lot of good food talk.
Yeah, a lot of good food talk. Got Salt Lake City Andy. It sent us kind of some insider stuff. One of these days, got to get to Salt Lake City. Never checked it out. Would like to know what it's all about. He said, I grew up in a smaller town called Logan, Utah. All right, Logan. And was in South Florida in 2006 where I found KVJ. My quick take on Utah, the pros, incredible beauty here, many national parks. Just Google Zion, Arches, Canyonlands. It's an outdoor person paradise. Camping and hiking is some of the finest. The people are friendly here. Lots of Mormons, yes, but not as many since the Olympics in '98. The place has been booming. Recently, more people leaving the West Coast has grown the population here from cheaper taxes and lower living costs. Cons, winters in Utah can get very harsh and cold. On the other hand, summers can be 100 plus. It's technically a desert here. Utah isn't your first destination for a party. Park City, Salt Lake, Moab are your best bets for finding bars and nightlife. Most Utah towns are dry and very against indulgence of alcohol. Some people here are different. Polygamous preppers, religious zealots, rednecks, frankly speaking. Stay away from the small towns and you'll be okay. So some good insight there.
Yeah, Ted Bundy had a run in Utah.
He did, huh?
Oh, yeah.
That guy was everywhere.
He was everywhere.
Yeah, he's even got coworkers listening, so there you go. And was actually in South Florida. My sister is the one who wrote in about the fire at CWS that happened. They were in there. They got their first round of drinks, and they came out and said, hey, it's on fire.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, at Lake Worth. It's too bad. Love that place. Wish they would reopen it. All right, I got some other emails. People got some questions.
Bring it.
Said a friend of mine is getting married in November, and I'm one of the bridesmaids. I'm honored to be a bridesmaid, but there have been 3 showers that I have attended. One was at a yacht club, another at a very nice Italian restaurant, another at a resort lodge. I don't have the greatest wardrobe, so I had to buy a nice dress to wear to each event, and I had to cover my room and transportation up to the lodge, which is in the middle of summer. It's not cheap. Well, now the maid of honor has announced plans for the bachelorette party. It'll be at the end of October in the Sonoma area at California. I can't cover the $600 flight, $300 for accommodations, and God only knows how much for the wine tasting tours, food, and souvenirs.
That's probably lowballing the numbers.
And, of course, the other 4 bridesmaids are definitely going. I haven't said anything to the bride about whether or not I'm going. I don't want to hurt her feelings. How should I handle this?
Okay, first of all, you're not hurting her feelings. You've already shown you've gone to 3 events.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're being an absentee friend here. You totally are. My whole thing is, if you're close with somebody, you should be able to get real with them and go, look, I just can't do it, my friend. I'm sorry. I love you. I think you're great. I want to be a part of all these activities, but I just cannot swing it. I hope you understand. God bless you.
Yeah, if you guys really care for me to go, then you all chip in and fill in the costs I can't afford, and then we're talking. But
if someone doesn't get that after you are kind and say that sincerely, well, then fuck them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't need that friend group anyway. They'll answer it for you.
And be careful, too, when you're inviting all these people all the time to 19 different events, because most people can't afford them.
Yeah, watch how much of a drain that you put on your friends. Your friends should be excited to be in situations, and anytime you put them in a situation where they didn't really have a say in the discussion when you were talking about the costs, if you're all sitting around saying, we should do this, yeah, let's stay there, let's take this, let's do that.
If you're all into it,
then you're like, great, then we done that. But when you're saying, hey, this is my day, you're going to come celebrate me, and you got to pay for this, and that, and you're talking over a couple $100, yeah, most people are kind of be like, man, I don't want to spend my money this way, and I don't have money budgeted for it.
And not everyone is that excited to go to your wedding. I'm not saying that there's not some people who are, but there's a lot of people who aren't that fucking jazzed to be going to the wedding.
People will be cool with celebrating you if you give them something to celebrate you with. When they've got to pay or inconvenience themselves to celebrate you, they're not nearly as jazzed.
Well, now you're like that 7-year-old kid who has the birthday for 3 weeks long.
Yeah.
No, fuck, no.
Right. You're not worthy of celebrating that much.
I mean, look, you can have all your events. I'm not at all saying just don't be mad or upset if someone can't come, because there's a chance they can't.
Don't put that on people.
Fucking weddings.
Don't put that on people.
Weddings. Poor shit.
This email said, after my marriage broke down, I had to move back in with my parents. It's not ideal, but I had absolutely no choice in the matter as money is tight, and I don't know what on earth I'm going to do. Now, Dad is fine and just leaves me to it, but Mom is driving me mental with all of her comments and advice about everything. that I've done wrong in my life and why I'm to blame for the breakup. I feel like an utter failure, and she's trying to help, I think, but is making it so much worse. Can I tell her to back off while living in her house?
You could try to talk to your mom and say, look, Mom, you're making me feel bad. Just be careful. There's some people in my life who I love very, very much. But if I'm going through something and I need advice or I want to feel better, I will not go to them anymore.
Yeah.
Because they don't know how to make people feel better. And in fact, they make it worse. Try to recognize that. It sounds like your mom is not probably the right person to live with. You get the fuck out of there as quick as possible.
Yeah, probably, it's probably the best option, and I'd say it's fair to let her know, be like, Mom, you're making me feel worse about a situation I already feel really bad about.
There's some family members, I get it, that they will not make you feel better about something.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. Okay, we had a raise your hand poll today. Raise your hand if you'd ever been caught with a fake ID. I had raised my hand for that. Yeah, I guess I got caught. It was really weird. I had 2 fake IDs I went back and forth with in college. This is close to when I turned 21, and I lost them both. I had used them for probably a year and a half, and then I lost them both within the course of 2 weeks. It was crazy. I went into a bar on Court Street in Athens, Ohio. I had one snagged there, and then I was south of Los Angeles on spring break, and I went into a bar, and the guy's like, that's not you. I'm like, yeah, it's me. It was an Ohio ID. And he's like, nope. And he took it. I'm like, son of a bitch. And then the guy walked out the door. I didn't even think he worked there.
Damn.
He just swiped my damn ID and took off.
Trickery.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were in town before. The Bradley's used to be at a different location.
Yeah.
A long time ago. And I'm sorry. Roxy's at a different location, I thought, a long time ago. No? I'm getting my.
What are you talking? Roxy's revamped it. And what was the other one you said?
Bradley. I thought Bradley's was.
Bradley's moved. Bradley's was
Okay.
on Palm Beach, and they moved to their current location on the other side in West Palm Beach, on the other side of the Intercoastal. So yeah, they did move.
I had a Elvis ID, and I also I had a bottle of ketchup. 2 different times. The bouncer, for whatever reason, liked my act. The only bouncer in the history of bouncers to like me. He thought I was funny that I was trying to get in with a bottle of ketchup, and he goes, "Get the fuck in here. Go ahead." He liked it. So Elvis and bottle of ketchup.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
That worked
My
for you,
friends,
huh?
because they knew I might have got in there too with a Hulk Hogan ID, and it started to get to the point where we would pregame party, and my friends would go, try to get with a bottle of ketchup, see if this fucker lets you in, and he did.
You okay?
Each time it got worse and crazier.
Yeah. That's great. You found a cool bouncer.
It's rare.
It's rare.
We call it a unicorn, Denny's.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I've had a few IDs taken. I mean, the minute I turned 16, I had my ID maybe 25 minutes before I had it turned into a fake.
Damn.
I drove newly licensed right to a place to have it turned into a fake ID. One of my friends used to do it. And the old ones were different. The old IDs were much easier. They were white.
Yeah.
They were just a white ID for Florida, and we would get made fun of how easy they are to make fake, because if you looked at New York or some of the Northeastern, they were laminated. They had holograms.
Yeah.
Everybody I knew had a fake ID. I mean, they were not hard to get.
Yeah, I remember the trick. There was a couple different things when I was in college. Most of the people that were my age were born in 73. And so what you would do was you would take a safety pin, and where the 3 came across, you would poke in that, take baby powder and fill it in to make it white. It was basically like whiteout. And then you take a ballpoint pen that was black and draw the 3 down so it looked like a 0, so it looked like your birthday was 70, not 73.
Yes.
And then you kind of laminate over that, and then that's how you would fix your ID. That's how a lot of people did.
There's 2 spots on the
Their
ID.
fakes.
The top number reflects your birthday as well, hidden in there. So there's 2 spots on the ID you used to have to change.
I mean, how fucking easy was that?
That was
so easy.
that was
Oh my
Ohio in
God.
the early 90s. It was pretty easy to change that. Most people did.
Florida one was white. So we used to just they make stencils that you can scratch.
Yeah.
And it leaves an imprint on whatever the heck you're doing. So we would outline, and you would just stencil in to change the number.
Yeah.
And it would stay permanently. Or we would use a Sharpie marker.
The
one of
problem
two.
was I remember one person in my dorm did that, and they got pulled over legit, and it was their real license that they had fucked with.
You gotta tell them you don't have your license on you.
Yeah.
Never show me your ID.
Dumbass gave it to the cop.
Oh,
and the
that's
cop's
what you
like,
can't do.
Because
You
he
gotta
looked at it,
say-
he's like, you're not born in 70. You're born in 73.
You gotta tell them
And they got arrested for tampering with an ID, and that was a very serious charge. I remember they disappeared from school.
The police
Oh,
won't
you
fuck
get in
around
big
with that.
trouble. Yeah, that's why you say.
they just were gone.
Well, so you go to the DMV and they're like, you have to surrender your old ID for a new one, I used to just go and get a new one and say I lost mine, and then I'd take my old one and I'd make it a fake, and then I would sell it to anyone that looked anything like me.
Yeah, right now I have 3 IDs. Usually I lose all this shit. I got 3 licenses right now, Denny's.
Yeah, I got 3. I actually am saving them. I'm going to put them in a display, but I have 3 of my medical marijuana cards that have expired. I've been saving every one since they've expired.
That's a nice collection.
Someone told me that having multiple IDs now is illegal.
It's always been a legal thing. I don't think you should have it like that.
Yeah, I think they would like for you to destroy the old ones for that reason, that they don't want them falling into other hands and then people manipulating them and then using your identity to pass themselves off.
Well, I lose my shit a lot, so I need some backups. Legal or not, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but that was one thing I definitely got in trouble for a lot.
I did see something that was a headline about the federal regulation of marijuana. I think it was Clarence Thomas.
Yeah, Suits was just telling me about this morning.
What story's going to make us get excited that only to let us down?
He was saying that he's one of the Supreme Court justices, and he does not see the need any longer for the federal regulation of marijuana, and that's the problem with the recreational marijuana. In Florida, they've basically said that they will not change it in Florida until the federal government changes it. So if a Supreme Court justice is saying, I don't see the point in it, if they could get a case to the Supreme Court, they might be able to overrule the federal
Well, because this would be greater
law
than
against
just
it.
Florida's law against it. This would be federally making it legal. So then the United States has, then each state then has there's no reason not to.
I think you'd
It
see
would be up to them.
every state probably for the most part, except your most conservative,
Yes.
go for it.
Well, Sweet Denny's was telling me about how much money Colorado's making right now.
Making a good chunk of money, yeah.
Ever since they've implemented it and they let a year get on the books, it has just been
it's
positive.
different. I saw that. I think it was California's at $1 billion. I think Colorado is like $400 million, something like that. They're making.
Yeah, what's cool is a big complaint in Colorado for a long time was all the streets were jacked up and all the sidewalks are jacked up, and they fix all of that on the fly now. Just anytime somebody reports it, it's fixed right then and there. Because what'll happen is water will get in the cracks and freeze, and the streets get jacked up. It's one luxury we have here in Florida that we don't have to deal with jacked up streets.
Yeah, your society's not falling apart, and all of a sudden now your infrastructure is much better. People are like, yeah, sign me up.
The internet there is faster too. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Are you saying that pot's definitely the reason for this?
Well, so yeah, because they're making more money on it through the taxes, and the government has the ability to keep fire stations open, police stations open. Back in the day when they were a lot of them were shutting down, they were keeping them open because they had the funds to do so. Mm-hmm. So all of that's a super positive.
Sean said, unfortunately, they will never make it federally legal, at least not in our time.
Why is that, though? Why are some states cool and then all of a sudden Florida?
But what about the federal government? To me, I'm just wondering if somebody brought a case that challenged it and the Supreme Court agreed to hear it.
To say at least not in our time, that's a dark statement.
Oh, yeah.
It's bleak. It's bleak, Sean.
Well, just in my time of living, I've seen it go from hated to loved.
Where soccer moms are now doing
to where it's been
dances with it.
Commonplace to where I'm even seeing mushrooms being used in
Mushrooms is
therapy.
way you're seeing the movement of mushrooms. There's so much more talk and commonplace than they were even 2 years ago.
Well, and I just asked Sean this because I just looked this up. I'm like, well, where does he stand on this? Clarence Thomas is often described as the Supreme Court's most conservative member, and he is saying federal laws against marijuana may no longer be necessary. So if the most conservative justice is saying that, why are you saying that never in our lifetime would we see them overturn it? If you got a case and they agreed to hear it, that would wipe it out. That's why the courts really are so important. They just gave a death blow to the NCAA about not paying athletes and letting them collect money in college. And it was an 8-0 decision, and now the NCAA is like, well, okay, or fuck. There's nothing you can do with the Supreme Court.
Yeah, you're done.
When the Supreme Court says they interpret the law, there's nothing you can do. So if it got to them, and the most conservative justice is saying,
is there a super Supreme Court?
What?
A super Supreme Court?
Super Supreme?
That's
tough to say.
It is very tough.
Yeah.
Well, you just got to follow the money. A lot of times, it's not even so much for the well-being of people. It's usually where the money flows. So if they're making money, keep busting marijuana or shutting down marijuana, if they're making more like that, then they probably aren't going to switch it over unless you make more through tourism, or not so much tourism, but people coming to try it in your state or every state. I mean, any state is going to have an increase because it's taxed.
Yeah, I think you could. And I think, ultimately what they want to do is give states the decision to make that choice for themselves. So let's get rid of the federal law, and then state by state, you do locally what is good for you in your state or in your area. If it's to keep it still illegal, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But then when you get to Florida, would Florida do that? Or are they just BSing? They're blaming it now on the federal government and that law. But if that hurdle were gone, would Florida really legalize it for the state?
I think they would. I just well, so we're a tourist state, so we do have income.
Sure,
that comes from. There's way poorer states in America that you think would be right on the bandwagon
of marijuana. You add that to the new gambling we got going on. Florida's getting really fun.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
The prostitution's right around the corner, Coach.
Oh yeah.
So it would make. I mean, we could probably get away without doing it, but it would be in our best interest to create more money for our economy, for our own state economy. You think? It would ultimately, that's what I'm saying. If they're making more busting the drug dealers, then I understand why they're not overturning it. But if they're not making more and they could potentially make more legalizing it or recreationalizing it, whatever they want to do, I don't see why you wouldn't do that.
Well, somebody said, I heard the reason the federal government doesn't make marijuana legal is because they would have to let all the people in our jail system out that have marijuana charges because it's no longer illegal. I don't know how true that is. It makes sense. But I think that a lot of people are really starting to rail against that. That is becoming something that is clearly wrong that is happening in American society. And they're saying we have a lot of people in prison for things that they should not be in prison for. And prison reform is something, a buzzword that you hear a lot about. And I think that it's getting to the point where here in the upcoming years, probably in the next 5, you will see some major prison reform issues happen, and there will be a lot of people that rightfully will be set free to go live their life.
But someone, and you guys will probably know this, or maybe even you, Denny's, that if you get arrested with a joint or even a bag of weed, those cases don't happen. If people got arrested for a joint, it's because they had 2 or 3 other prior convictions on something, and that joint that they were smoking happened to be something they got arrested for.
For sure.
But is that true?
Well, so it depends on how much. So I mean, if you have anything less than an ounce in Florida, it was already a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's not necessarily. I mean, it's not great, but it's not that big of a slap on the wrist.
But you always hear the argument, there's people in jail for only smoking a joint, they're in prison now for one joint, and that's always an argument you hear. Is that true? Are people in prison for a little amount of weed?
They would have to have already been in there. I just know in the last 10 or 15 years, you don't even have to, you just get a notice to appear for anything possession under a felony. You don't even have to, the police officer won't even arrest you. You just have a notice to appear.
They're wisely getting to the point saying, we don't want to tie up the courts with this kind of stuff. There are legit people that are out there that we've got to deal with. I mean, when you start looking at the sex trafficking issues and things like that, you're saying, okay, what do we need to spend our time and resources on? A couple people that want to smoke a little bit of weed, or people who are putting people into slavery and selling them for a profit? I mean, to me,
I guess that's my
one
question.
versus the other. Put your resources there.
Are people legit in prison right now for smoking a little bit of weed? I guess that's my question.
I mean, they'd have to be old time. I don't know what you mean. Like they got caught smoking a joint and then got put in prison for that. I don't think you would make it to prison.
Yeah,
for that.
I don't think so either. I think if you're in prison for weed, there's been something bigger attached to it.
If you're going to prison for weed,
okay.
So I could see you going to jail for a small amount, especially through the 80s, the war on drugs, but even through the 90s. But 2000 onward, it started changing. Where you wouldn't have to go to court for anything less than or anything like a misdemeanor. You wouldn't even have to. You just have to go, and you would get like drug court or some sort of penalty. But you didn't get arrested for that.
But then that's obviously different for the harder drugs.
Now it's even for harder drugs. Definitely, they're in a different class depending on what kind of drug it is. But I forgot what I was gonna say now. You got me talking about it.
Sorry.
You're cool. But one thing about the prisons is it costs a lot of money for taxpayers to keep people in prison. So clearing a lot of people out of prison for marijuana is going to free up a lot of money as well. So, I mean, it's kind of almost a double win. You're getting people out of prison, given, I don't know if I consider them hardened criminals if they're, trafficking a huge amount of marijuana. I guess you have to look at each case. I guess that's the distinction. Each case, like Bird's point, some people are probably in there for trafficking huge amounts of marijuana and
there is
organized
a definite,
crime.
They have a delineation, what becomes for recreational use, what becomes for trafficking. So
Absolutely.
if it's deemed for recreational use, not that bad, slap on the wrist. If it's deemed for trafficking, then you got bigger problems.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why it's a messy situation that probably no one feels like even dealing with. That might be a holdup too, that the courts don't even know how to address this issue at all.
Yeah. Well, I think there's more pressure to deal with it, so hopefully that pressure will stay on, and the politicians and the judges will get a chance to hear it and maybe make some changes. On the Raise Your Hand poll, we asked if you'd sent nudes. 50% of the show said yes. Who sent the nudes? How many of you sent? What did you send photos of?
I mean,
Long distance relationships with the wife. Bound to send a couple photos to each other, keep it spicy. So,
yeah, I've done it with people I've been involved with.
Okay.
I mean, if they want to go public with it, well, I can't control that.
yeah, I think we're probably on the lighter end too.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm flashing shit left and right. It was kind of more of a younger man's game for me. The older I got, I'm just like, I don't think I should be.
Yeah.
You get nervous is all.
Because I know it's pretty commonplace now.
Yeah, I've never just sent a dong pic to say it's obviously you're in a sexting kind of a situation. Have I done it?
Never
Yeah.
unsolicited.
No,
that would be insanity.
people who send unsolicited dick pictures are fucking morons.
You're in a different category.
Well, you're a moron.
That's insanity.
Yeah, different category. And you've had sex with two different people on a single day.
By accident.
How is it an
tripped
accident?
and fell?
Yeah, I was like,
some
oh,
poon.
Oh, dang. Thanks.
Well, no, I actually had a date set up with somebody in the evening, and then you know how it is when you're not really dating anyone. I'll throw the feelers out, when you're trying to get some people in the mix. And I was at a restaurant, and on a whim, I was eating lunch with my buddy, and he was like, "Hey, go ask that girl out." And I was like, "I don't know." He's like, "Come on." And so I was like, "All right, let's see it." So I wrote down a message on a napkin and was like,
Fucking romantic, you.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, "Hey, if you want to hang later, blah, 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 here's my digits." Well, anyway, she hit me up in like 25 minutes after lunch. I couldn't believe
Oh,
it.
she wanted the sweet Denny's.
And I ended up hooking up with her, like all within one day. It was pretty wild, right? Well, so I still had that date later. So I went home, showered, and all that stuff.
So where's the accident part?
Well, because
I'm trying
I
to
did
figure out whether
not.
this is an accident.
I didn't anticipate that
How'd you
first.
accidentally
Not an
bang two
accident.
chicks in one day?
It's not an accident.
I didn't anticipate
There you go.
the first hookup,
Okay.
and I also did not anticipate the second hookup. It was just it never works out like that.
You made it sound like someone tricked you and spun you around. Like, oh my gosh, what the fuck is
What the
happening?
hell? Oh, my gosh, I'm having sex again.
I can't, and she looks different.
What an accident.
You know how it goes, though. You
It
get
wasn't supposed to go down like this.
100 times you can put the feelers out and get nothing, right? It just
Yeah.
sometimes it works out like that.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I
absolutely.
mean that's just how it went.
Uh-huh.
The one was very short term, and the other one was a little bit more long term. So
How many hours after the first one
gosh, man, it was only probably like 4.5.
did we shower?
I showered, and again, I did not expect anything. It happened.
Okay.
Both were consensual and both were safe, but at the same time, yeah, I did. It just you kind of when you're young and you can't turn it down.
Kitten beard dance saying you're humble bragging right now.
I am not trying to. I'm just saying it just somehow happened like that.
Mine happened in high school. I was with my girlfriend at the time. We were getting a little bit rocky in the relationship. Both had been drinking, got into a fight. Oh, screw you, it's over. And so,
yeah.
So we had already hit it, but then got into a fight as we drank more. Relationship's over, falls apart, and I'm like, I'll show you. And I dialed up, went to my ex-girlfriend's house, and I knew that she still was kind of catting around. That's why we were talking about having the ex.
Yeah.
Backup plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it's dangerous, because you had that one night where I don't know what you get spiteful. And if things go south, it's like, I'll show you. Like, show you what? Yeah.
Look at that. Fucking machine or Alston.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I stopped being a fucking machine at 17.
Hey, man, but I tell you what, you hit your prime.
If I would have known then the best of my sex life was over at 7, how depressing. Dude, you've had the best sex of your life. It's over. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So there you go.
That is hilarious.
All right, so that's what happened in the Raise Your Hand poll today.
I accidentally had sex with her.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Accidental.
it wasn't planned.
Yeah.
Either.
Didn't mean to. Whoops. Look what I just did. Look what you made me do. All right, Virginia back with us tomorrow for the Wednesday edition of the KVJ Show. You'll have a great day. Goodbye.
Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems, ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.